Please join me in thanking Nicholas Pierre for his speech and welcoming our last commencement speaker, Dr. Bernat Oyet, Chief Executive Officer, co-founder, and member of the Board of Vedanta Biosciences, to the podium. Dr. Oyet is a co-founder and Chief Executive Officer at Vedanta Biosciences. He has been a member of the founding teams of several companies of the PureTech portfolio and served as a member of the board of directors of Vedanta Biosciences and Follic Biosciences. In 2013, Dr. Oyet was named Innovator of the Year in MIT Technology Review, Spain's Innovators Under 35 Awards. He completed his doctoral work at the Chemical Engineering Department at MIT, where he developed a novel method for large-scale bacterial culture. During his graduate work, Dr. Oyet was awarded the La Caixa Fellowship. Dr. Oyet received his BS in Chemical Engineering from Universitat Rovira i Virgili in the Republic of Catalonia, his MS and PhD in Chemical Engineering practice from MIT, and his MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management. He has published his work in journals including Nature and Nature Biotechnology, and a TEDx Cambridge talk on ending the war on microbes. Dr. Bernat Oyet would like to congratulate you and offer some thoughts as you venture forth from Harvard. Please join me in welcoming him. Thanks, Steve. You're welcome. "16 years ago, on my first day of orientation in graduate school, a professor gave us, the entering class, a welcome address that had this big line on it. He said, 'This is MIT. Tomorrow, when you wake up, the first thing that you should do is ask yourselves, what are you going to do to change the world?' I thought it was pompous. I remember I turned to my friend Joel. We would always joke about everything and anything. And I said, yeah, right, tomorrow when I wake up, the first thing that I'm going to try to do is find my way to the bathroom. I thought I was being clever, but Joel wasn't laughing. He was engaged. The same call to action that made me cynical was full of meaning for him. He had a purpose. Fast forward 5 years later, it's commencement day. My friend Joel had already started his first company and was working on his second one. I was proud that I had made it through all the hard work, but I remember I was also worried. I was worried that I still hadn't figured out how I would put all those years of education to do something that I could be proud of. I wish the commencement speaker would have served me the answer. I don't remember anything the commencement speaker said that day. Notice how I lowered the bar here? I'm sure that Dean Lambert will hope that I do a little better than that. Maybe some of you have in mind the same question today that I had at my commencement. How will you put to use this education towards something that you can be proud of? What is your purpose? Some of you may have already figured it out, but I'm sure that many of you still haven't. Now, why is this so hard? I mean, after all, we all have a plan. We do, right? You make a list of the highest paying companies and the most prestigious companies. You send several applications. Your Harvard degree will get you in front of many of them. You show up at the interviews, you do a good job, and some offers will follow. That's what I did. I remember looking around. Many of my peers were interviewing for prestigious companies. I thought, well, if these smart, accomplished classmates think this is a good idea, it must be good for me too, right? So I polished my resume. I applied to the top 3 most prestigious strategy consulting firms, because that's what the cool kids were doing. And the MIT degree got me in front of all of them. The first answer came back, no job. Second answer came back, no job. And then the third one, finally, no job either. They all rejected me. So after the last rejection,
I remember going for a run around the Charles River. Any runners here? I'm starting at the Mass Avenue Bridge, and I'm thinking, I'm a good candidate. Why didn't these people see it? I mean, what's wrong with them? By the time I get to the Harvard footbridge, I'm turning down on the river, and I finally ask myself, why did I want to work for these firms in the first place? I mean, past the money and the prestige, why did I actually want this profession? Have I ever been curious about providing strategic advice to management on how to preserve market share for their key product lines? No. And so I realized I don't have a good answer. But now, for the first time in my life, I'm asking this question for real. It's not a game anymore. I have my back against the wall. I have 1 month left on my immigrant visa, and I don't have a job. So here lies the problem, in my opinion. You have all these competing priorities by which success often gets defined. Money, fame. You have peer pressure. All these talented classmates pursuing their priorities. But priorities are not the same as purpose. And their purpose is not your purpose. Money, prestige, success are an end result, a bar to compare ourselves against others, but not a shortcut to finding your purpose. Something good for me came out of these rejections. They stripped away all the inessential, and they forced me to ask the hardest question, why? What do I like? What am I curious about? As a student, I had a couple of subscriptions to scientific journals, to Science and Nature, in the life sciences. I would get them every Friday and would read the whole thing in a go. I wanted to know all about the latest scientific advances, and I was particularly curious about how these new ideas could be translated into applications. When I was doing that, time would fly. Doing this made me happy. Have you noticed how when you do something that you're curious about, it's a lot easier to learn? Time just flies by. This is a universal truth. So just before my visa expired, I stumbled on a lottery ticket. I was offered a job that involved looking for the most exciting new technologies and figuring out ways to turn them into companies. It seemed like a no-brainer, and this time, I knew why I wanted to do it. I was already doing it for free. I think I finally found a purpose. I got very interested in scientific advances in the field of the human microbiome, which studies how the bacteria that live in us shape our health. And that curiosity led me to start a company down the street that is developing a new type of medicines that are based on live bacteria. You may be thinking, whatever, this worked for you. Or what I'm curious about is not what will pay me best. Or I don't have a plan for how it will have an impact. Actually, this Find Your Purpose speech that I'm giving now is very much the same message that I got on my first day at MIT. It didn't mean anything to me the first time I heard it. I mean, I understood the concepts, they were obvious. But I completely ignored the call to action from the professor. So I won't take offense when you leave your seats now and walk towards Have It Yat if you go on to forget everything I said. But I want you to know this. I want you to know that I wish the professor's call to action on orientation day had resonated with me the first time I heard it, not 5 years later. I wish I had my friends' willingness to go for it right away. And I wish I hadn't been temporarily taken off course by other people's motivations. But at least, I'm glad I had the curiosity to learn about things that I cared about, and ultimately, let the opportunities for learning guide my career choices. And that's made a difference for me. I don't know how many in the audience will realize already today that this is the goal, finding your purpose. Know that if it isn't your goal today, it will become your goal in the future. But all of you have the willingness to learn and the curiosity. That's why you came here to the Extension School. And you made it through the program, so congratulations. If there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. Let the opportunity to learn about the things that you're curious about drive your career decisions. It may come with sacrifices. It may mean passing on the highest paying job or the best known employer, but it is worth it. So tomorrow, when you wake up, I'd like you to ask yourselves, what am I most curious about? Maybe that will make a difference for you too. Maybe it will put you on a faster path to find purpose or the bathroom, whichever is most important to you. Thank you.